Howdy YouTube. I just wanted to do a review on the Goodyear Duratrac. I've had, just to put it in context, I've had 2 sets on my Cherokee so far. I'm on my 2nd set now. I haven't taken them off yet. But my first set was 29-inch ones, which were 2 35, 75, 15s. And I bought them back in 2017, from memory, somewhere around there. Actually, probably 2016. And I ran those until they... I ran them until about 50,000 miles, roughly. And I took them off because I realized that my rims on my Jeep were bent. I thought it might have been the tires, and I was trying to isolate the problem. So I had these 16-inch rims that I run now on a parts Jeep, and I decided let's try swapping them and seeing, and the difference was night and day on how much my Jeep shook like going down the road. And at that point I didn't know if it was the tires or not, but as soon as I swapped to the rims, I was like, man, it couldn't have been the tires that caused that all along. Regardless, I ran those tires down to the wear tread marks, if I remember right. I'll add a picture in here to show you. And I got, like I said, 50,000 out of them, which is what they are rated for, if I remember correctly. Anyways, I ran those that long. I want to say those were 6-ply C-load tires. And then I went a little time without Duratracs on the Jeep, and I missed them greatly because the grip that they have is fantastic for what they are. I mean, right now you can hear me, I'm driving down the road, and Jeep Cherokees are not known for being quiet, noise-proof rigs. They are, you hear the road, you hear the wind going past you, and there's just creaks and, you know, all that stuff that come with a 90s era Jeep. But the tire noise, at least from my ear right now, is very mild in comparison to like a mud tire, especially like that wah 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 wah, or just the constant ooh, like that hum going down the road, where this is like a really low, subtle sound. It's there, but it's so subtle, especially if I have the radio on, I don't even notice it. It doesn't change my driving experience at all. It's maybe the first week you have them, you're like, going from street tires, you'll be like, oh, there's a little bit of a noise. But then week 2, you're probably not even going to notice that they're there. And like I said, on a Jeep Cherokee that has very little noise dampening soundproofing around it, like the carpet is the biggest soundproofing you have, they're pretty quiet. So I just wanted to say, I'm on my 2nd set now, and I'm at 30,000 miles. So I figure now is a good time to give you a good middle of the road review on these things. And then I'll do it at the end when I get to 50,000, when I change them. And I'll probably be getting a 3rd set. If anything, I think I'm gonna take the spare that's on top of my Jeep that's brand new, other than being sun-soaked a little bit. I'm gonna get a 6th one, and I'm gonna throw those 2 into the rotation and make them stretch out to hopefully 75,000 miles between all 6 tires, just because I love the Duratrac that much. This set that I have now are actually a 5-ply set, which is a little weird, I know, to think about, but it's like their lowest ply set that they make, and it's a 265/70 R16, which is a 30.6-inch tire by 10.6 wide. And it's a really great tire for the Cherokee being barely lifted. It's perfect, fits into the fender wells really nice. It rubs a little bit with the little bit of lift I have in the front. I'm thinking about going an inch higher just to avoid the rubs a little bit more. But I have like a 2-inch lift, and it's almost the perfect tire for it, minus the tire being a little wide. But not to make it too personal about the Jeep Cherokee with the Duratrac. The Duratrac as itself is a great tire. I've taken these things through rock, mud, water, snow, ice, shoot, what else? The combination of all those together, silt like sand, like really fine sand, and they've done great. And I rarely have to air them down. Like they go at the spec 35 PSI, but if you drop them down to 30, 25, that range, they're just that much better of a tire in terms of traction. But I don't even really have traction problems with them at, like I said, the recommended 35 PSI. They're a little, with a vehicle like a Cherokee where it's a little lighter of a SUV, they're a little rough at 35, so my sweet spot for them, running them every day where I could just turn off the road and go off-roading, or drive them up and down the road to work every day, which I do. I daily this thing 75 miles every single day, and they're comfortable. Like I said, at 35, they're a little bit stout and you feel the bumps a little bit more. But if you drop them down to like 32, they're great. When it comes to mud and dirt that get stuck in between the like thick gaps of the lugs or the wide gaps of the lugs, there's like a little triangle piece down in the deep part of the lugs that, like, when it flattens out with the ground, it like turns a little bit and wobbles in there, and that loosens up dirt and mud and stuff that's stuck in there, and it cleans itself out, which is really nice. And then when it comes to rocks, you know, you'll pick up small pebbles and stuff along the way, but it's very rare that I have to take like a flathead screwdriver and pry the rocks out rather than them just coming out. Normally they just fall out the same method as the dirt. They self-clean and come out on their own. But every once in a while I might find one that holds on for a decent amount of time, I suppose. Another thing I forgot, when it comes to balance and rotating these tires, they're pretty forgiving. Like, I know that they're not the most balanced tire out of the factory, but they can easily be balanced with weights and stuff. And then as I've drove them for this set, I really haven't had any like balancing and rotation issues. They look like they're wearing very evenly across the board, and they really don't shake to my knowledge. I mean, for an old Jeep like this, a 99 Cherokee will tell you if a tire is out of balance pretty easily, because it's just an ancient design that you really feel the road, you really feel any like rotational mass that's out of balance. And surprisingly, I don't have very many vibrations. So that all starts with a good tire contacting the road on good rims, which I have both of, I believe. So just wanted to add that before we go to the tire inspection part of this video, which is actually recorded yesterday. So let's get to that. So I did a measurement on the front left tire and got a 1/4 inch of tread left. And then I did a measurement on the top tire that's never hit the pavement, and it was at 7/16. So a little bit in favor of the older tires still being a bit above half, but you gotta consider as they get worn out, they slowly get a smaller step in how much they cover in a rotation going around in a circle, so they don't step as far every time they rotate as they wear. So just to show you some small signs of like wear on the tire, you can kind of see right there, and at the lugs there's kind of like some signs of clawing into some into some rocks and mud and stuff, and a little bit of stress in the rubber at the edges. But if you look on top, nothing real significant. Maybe a little scratches, maybe a little section rocks stuck in them, but nothing major. Let's go to a different tire just so I'm not fooling you guys. I came over here and looked too, and here's one of the worst spots that I found, and still, especially considering that Missouri rock is typically sharp, like that's pretty good. And then like right here, there's probably one of the more stressed parts I've found. Same with this one right here. He had a little bit of a bite, but then this guy has a little bit of a tear right there. Looks like I did it a lot on this tire, actually. Probably the worst tire yet. But you can kind of see that stress very faintly in the tire's treads along the lugs. Let's go to the next one. Just look at another one. Just stress again. Nothing major. All the little outer, I would call them something else, but I think it would be inappropriate for YouTube. You can see all the little needles that stick off the edge of the tire are mostly gone, but some are even still hanging on at 30,000 miles, so not bad. Let's go to the last tire. And this is just how I pulled it into the shop today, so we're just getting a random look at the tires where they landed when I got here. You see there's a little small cut right there, and then you can see like a little slash in this one right there, but it's not even that deep. It's like surface level. And I mean, just same thing here. You see the needles are still somewhat there, but you know, they're not present like they used to be completely. But you know, the tire's still, for the most part, in good shape. And I mean, I put a lot of miles on them, especially this last year, and because I've been off-roading a lot more than usual, and I've been going out hitting stuff a lot, and they've just held up really well. And you can see the warning treads starting to come in close. I should have measured that, but if I had to take a wild guess, that looks like I'm 1/8 of an inch before the warning treads, which are right, you can see it inside this lug right here, back in here. And I think you can even run them past that a little ways before you would need to desperately change them. So I'm still a little ways out from that. In fact, on my first set, I want to say I ran into the warning treads before I changed them out. So that being said, probably going to do the same on these. But I really love the Goodyear Duratrac. It's a good tire, and it seems to wear really well. So hope this helps. I suggest them to most people. Thinking next time I go around, if I can get this size with a load rating C, I might do it. But at the same time, if this is the only size I can get at this 30.6 inch size, if I don't go up to a 31, I'll probably get this exact tire again. Like I said, I'm probably going to run a 5th and 6th on these constantly from now on if I get the 6th tire, and then I'm going to swap these original 4 constantly rotating with themselves, and then just move the other set front, back, or that part I got to figure out. So anyways, God bless everybody. Have a good day and take care. Your friend St. Chris. Later.